Hello again. In part 2, we'll be discussing the shock and numbness, the denial you will feel, the anger, the loneliness, and consider some of your needs during this time. As usual, I will make mistakes, but I think you'll be very patient with me. I hope this part helps you. It's actually often at the beginning, but I do believe you can actually have some of these things even a year later. Here we go. There is more shock factor when the person dies unexpectedly, but regardless of the end, it is hard to avoid the numbness and the feeling of unreality. Shock feels like being out of your body. Everything is happening around you, and yet you keep wanting to wake up and find out it is a dream. It's particularly hard on you. The body, the nervous system, the emotional body, and the mind are all seriously affected. Nature protects you by forcing you into this temporary shutdown. I felt as if I was walking through a nightmare. I'd wake in the morning, and within a few seconds, the death would hit me. In a strange way, I seemed to be in it, while I was also observing everything around me. Shock from the first terrible diagnosis till the passing may last for weeks and months. During the first weeks and months, it was one shock wave after another. I was bombarded by the awful news, and then my change in circumstance. Shock is dangerous unless you acknowledge it. Ask for help from others and cushion yourself and family as much as possible. Support, sleep, and good food strengthen you until you are right to yourself. The shock may be like a thunderbolt and morph into constant walls around you. After several months, you may experience waves one after the other. They creep in and knock you over. Be aware that shock exhibits in strange forms. The days feel like you're in a detached fog of disbelief. Slowly, these attacks will lessen. However, when they come, it is a sign of the enormous grief you are suffering. Other people who know your loved one will also be shocked. Be careful you don't take on their reaction. In time, everyone comes to terms with the death. Life moves on, and the physical reality of their absence cannot be denied. Nurture yourself and use whatever works. Medication, body work, supportive people, all assist you in working through one of the worst periods of your life. During this time, you might feel numbness. It protects you from the truth. When I first had it, it was confusing. All around me was falling apart. I could feel nothing. Numbness may last for several minutes to years. The body always seeks to protect itself, and by shutting you down, you are unable then to absorb any more damage. Numbness is a form of lockdown. There's no more moving forward with numbness. You have to wait till it subsides. When you are used to being in touch with your feelings, it is strange to have no emotion. Mother Nature shuts us down emotionally when we are super stressed. It's like an emotional anesthesia until we can handle the reality. Numbness is normal during loss. The overload is too much to bear. In time, you come out to face life again and deal with your feelings. Be patient and be ready for the pain. Numbness is similar to denial. You deny what is too much to absorb or feel. As your strength increases and your equilibrium restores, the numbness slowly lifts. It is the emotional first aid you give to yourself in times of great emotional turmoil. Denial also happens. This is a way to protect ourselves. There are layers of denial during loss and the aftermath. The first denial is the diagnosis, or your system shut down as you go into shock. I remember feeling like I was in a nightmare. I heard the words of the doctor and was totally shattered. The next denial is facing where you are heading. You wake up in the morning and then only remember the truth. Not wanting to accept or go through the process is normal. As the truth sinks in, you gradually come out of denial. Some people cannot accept the inevitable and try fruitlessly to save the dying person. They may blame the doctors, the nurses, the hospital. However, eventually even they are forced out of denial. Some family may blame the person for getting ill, and that is a form of their denial and blame shifting. We are all mortal creatures, and we will all die. When your time comes, nothing will save you. Denial can signify unfinished business between the person who is alive and the one who is dying. During a passing, much healing and reconciliation is possible. However, When either party refuses to make their peace or heal the past, denial remains. It is protection until you deal with the two losses, the physical loss and the loss of reconciliation. Feeling angry is also normal. Under the anger hides pain and hurt. Anger is a natural and undeniable outcome, and the sooner you deal with it, the better. On some level, it seems weird to be angry with a phantom. I was angry to be left behind. I vented in the car and used writing to let it out. I wanted Ray to be alive, and because he was not there, it angered me. Besides all the practical aspects of life, there was a huge, gaping hole in my world. Every morning and day, the more hole was there, looking to be filled. There was no escape from the constant reminders that popped into my head. Moving ahead seems hard considering you are surrounded by memories and physical reminders of your life together. It feels like you are dragging a massive amount of the past into the present and future. None of us want to be left behind. You are there standing alone in a relationship that had two people in it. On the bad days when the shower broke and I could not find an important document of his, I felt my anger rising. It permeated every day. Sometimes it began in anger, only to be converted into hours of crying. Anger and loss go together. There is the loneliness when you are alone, and another loneliness when you are pining. After loss, pining is a good description of how you feel. You want your loved one and your life back. Even though they have left, the love you feel has not gone. You look out at your new life, and there are empty spaces everywhere. It is depressing, and life feels foreign. Over the months, I became more used to being alone. Instead of being with another person every day, my world became more of an inner world. The early morning and the nights were the worst. During these times, I planned activities and rang friends. I was grateful to those who rang or made time to meet me. Although they were not my partner, in the process I learned how to arrive alone and leave alone. I often cried on the way there and on the way home. I had been in a marriage where we had spent lots of time together, and the change in my lifestyle took some adjusting. When you are lonely, try to connect to other people. Leave the house and visit friends and family. On the empty days, go to the shopping centre and speak to other people you meet or who serve you. Being single takes practice, and your first attempts at sitting alone in a coffee shop or at the movies will be challenging. However, the more you do, the easier it becomes. I had several outings when my tears welled up and I found the loneliness quite excruciating. In time, I became better and better. I put on a brave smile and tried to make the most of it. The loneliness is the greatest hurdle after loss. Accepting it helps. Acknowledge you are alone and lonely. Become your best friend and sometimes only friend. This shift of consciousness is slow and painful. Some days you will do well, and on other days you will struggle. I wrote a list of activities to do that I used to enjoy. I made a list of chores and household jobs needing completion. I stuck them on my fridge. On the lost days, I checked the list and mechanically did one of the activities. The time passed more quickly, and at least I achieved something. Although some jobs are mindless, they help me move on. Tidy out cupboards, move furniture, shift everything that you need to shift, because by shifting everything physically, you make an energetic shift. It feels less lonely when you are occupied. During your loss, you will have certain needs. Needs are essential, important, and different from wants. Some needs you feel by yourself, however, they are needs others cannot fill. There is much happening emotionally, and trying to meet your own needs is a wise decision. Although you wish for help, it is often not forthcoming. Learn to be self-reliant.